On the night of September 7th, 2025, humanity stood still. All across the planet, eyes turned upward to watch the moon vanish behind Earth's shadow. But what followed was no ordinary eclipse. It was a message written in light. From horizon to horizon, the heavens ignited in a storm of green fire, an impossible, radiant emerald hue that painted the night like an otherworldly dawn. In those fleeting seconds, silence fell upon the world. From the rooftops of Buenos Aires to the deserts of Arabia, millions witnessed the sky itself come alive, glowing, pulsing, breathing in colors no human language could name. Astronomers scrambled, telescopes spun, social media exploded with disbelief. And then someone saw it, a streak, a frozen dagger of light, blazing across the darkness, shifting from icy blue to a burning emerald that refused to fade. Cameras rolled, timelines filled. The world demanded answers. What was it? A comet? A signal? Or something greater? Hours later, amid the noise and chaos, one truth began to emerge. An object from beyond our sun, a traveler older than Earth itself, had entered our skies. It came fast, silent, and unbound. A cosmic messenger, racing through the black at nearly 98 kilometers per second. Its name, 3I/Atlas, our third interstellar visitor. And its arrival would change everything we thought we knew about life, light, and the origins of worlds. As dawn crept across the continents, the world's telescopes began to whisper the same impossible truth. From Cape Town to Cairo, Lisbon to Lahore, every corner of Earth had caught a glimpse of the same streak, a glowing green intruder tearing across the heavens. In Buenos Aires, a young amateur astronomer stared at his trembling hands as he reviewed his footage. The comet's hue refused to fade even after the eclipse ended. In Sao Paulo, a student with a borrowed DSLR camera had captured the shift frame by frame blue turning to emerald, light bending into something no filter could explain. At 3:18 Universal Time Coordinated, thousands of eyes watched the sky and felt something ancient stir in their bones. The forums exploded. Never seen that shade before. It's not local. This is from beyond. Every second brought new images, stacked exposures, hand-drawn sketches, wild theories. A retired engineer in Cape Town measured its impossible velocity, watching the green comet move faster than anything bound to the sun. In Istanbul, a teacher posted a time-lapse that showed the color blooming like a living thing. A Moroccan school club compared its shifting position against background stars and proved the unthinkable. It wasn't from here. By sunrise, a single phrase trended across every screen. The night the sky went green. The world was no longer divided by borders or languages. For the first time in generations, humanity looked up together. But amid the wonder, unease began to spread. Scientists, usually cautious and slow to speak, were silent. Every telescope on Earth pivoted toward that impossible emerald trail. And deep inside mission control rooms across the globe, the countdown had begun. Inside the dim hum of the Atlas control room, coffee went cold as eyes locked onto one stubborn number, a trajectory that refused to obey. The object didn't loop, didn't bend, didn't belong. It was tearing through the inner solar system on a path that no orbit solver could tame. Every attempt to fit it into a solar curve failed. The data broke the math. The machine blinked back, eccentricity above 1, trajectory unbound. A silence fell, the kind that feels heavier than words. Someone finally whispered it. If this is real, it's interstellar. The room froze. They all knew the weight of that word. It meant this traveler was not born of our sun, not forged in our nebula. It came from elsewhere, a fragment of another world, a messenger from another star. Panic wrestled with awe. Standard protocols demanded caution. Wait, verify, confirm. But the numbers screamed urgency. At nearly 100 kilometers per second, the object was already racing beyond Mars. Every lost hour meant a shrinking chance to see history unfold. One analyst broke the silence. We raised the flag. At 5:12 Universal Time Coordinated, July 1st, 2025, the alert went global. The world had just been visited. Its name, 3I/Atlas, the third interstellar object in human history. Not an asteroid, not a comet, a messenger from the stars. News feeds lit up. Observatories across continents pivoted in unison. In that moment, humanity realized it wasn't alone in the cosmic void. Our skies had been breached by something older than memory, faster than imagination, and free from gravity's grasp. For the first time, we weren't just looking at the stars. The stars were looking back. Within hours of the alert, the world's finest telescopes turned their gaze toward the speeding emerald phantom now known as 3I/Atlas. At 61 kilometers per second, it was already a blur across the heavens, and projections showed its speed would soon peak near 98 kilometers per second, fast enough to cross the distance between Earth and the Moon in barely over an hour. Nothing built by human hands could ever catch it. Not rockets, not probes, not dreams. This was no visitor staying for tea. It was a drive-by from eternity. A ghost passing once, then gone forever. Orbit specialists ran the simulations again and again. Each one returned the same impossible truth. Its path wasn't bound to the sun. It had come from the deep, a wanderer that had traveled across light years, slipping through the black between stars, unseen, untouched, until fate brushed it against our corner of the galaxy. The moment the confirmation hit, awe rippled through every mission lab on Earth. Scientists stood before screens, speechless. The impossible had arrived, and it was leaving fast. By dawn, the notification hit every major observatory. Object confirmed interstellar. Outbound velocity unbound. They named it officially 3I/Atlas, the third of its kind. Following Oumuamua and Borisov, it now joined a sacred cosmic list, rare emissaries that had crossed from other suns into ours. No spacecraft could follow. No mission could intercept. The chance to touch it, to taste its dust, was already gone. But still, the chase began. Not with engines, but with light. Every telescope, every instrument, every sleepless scientist aimed upward, desperate to capture a whisper of its story before it vanished back into the infinite night. The deeper the scientists stared into the data, the stranger 3I/Atlas became. The glow that had turned the sky into a living emerald ocean defied every known law of comet chemistry. When the first spectrographs from La Palma, Gemini South, and Mauna Kea arrived, researchers braced for the familiar pattern: the sharp swan bands of diatomic carbon, the signature green of all comets known to humankind. But the universe had other plans. The data came back blank. No C2, no swan lines, no comfort in the familiar. Instead, a broad, alien plateau of light, smooth, unbroken, hauntingly pure. The comet's green wasn't carbon. It was something else, something no one could name. Then came the next shock. The chemistry was inverted. Where every comet in our solar system breathes water, this one exhaled carbon dioxide, 8 times more abundant than H2O. The breath of Atlas was cold, metallic, and ancient. Cyanogen flickered faintly, but not enough to paint the heavens green. Even carbonyl sulfide, a known culprit in rare hues, was too weak. The specialists grew restless. Theories collided. Some whispered of exotic radicals, others of unknown interstellar ices, relics from a sun that had died before ours was born. In chat rooms and labs, sleepless chemists traded equations like prayers. But every model failed. The only thing clear was this 3I/Atlas was rewriting the color of the cosmos. Its light did not belong to the periodic table we knew. It belonged to another Genesis, another sky, another world. And as its emerald glow continued to ripple through Earth's atmosphere, one realization began to sink in. This wasn't just science anymore. This was a message written in light, and we had barely learned to read. Just when astronomers thought 3I/Atlas could reveal no deeper mystery, the universe whispered again, this time through metal and fire. As the spectrographs sharpened, the data unveiled a sight so alien it silenced entire control rooms. More than 20 distinct nickel lines flared bright in the ultraviolet, each as sharp as a blade. Yet iron, the loyal companion in every comet spectrum, was almost gone. a faint murmur where a roar should have been. Nickel shone 50 times stronger than iron. It was a fingerprint from another creation. Comet chemists stared in disbelief. On Earth, in every known system, iron leads and nickel follows. But here, in this ghost from the stars, the rules were reversed. The balance of matter itself had shifted. In frozen labs from Tokyo to Pasadena, teams rushed to replicate the glow. Cryochambers hissed, experiments froze at -25 degrees Celsius. Only one possibility emerged: nickel carbonyls, compounds so fragile they could only survive in the deep, eternal cold of interstellar space. These molecules could sleep for billions of years, waiting for a new sun to awaken them. Iron, heavy and stubborn, had stayed locked away, trapped in grains forged under alien skies. But nickel had sung. Polarimetry revealed more secrets. Atlas's dust scattered light in strange, negative polarizations, a signature seen not in comets near our sun, but in ancient trans-Neptunian relics, icy wanderers born beyond the frost line. The message was clear. This object came from a cradle colder than any we've ever known. For planetary scientists, 3I/Atlas was no longer just a comet. It was a time capsule from another galaxy's nursery, whispering how worlds are born in the dark. And humanity, for the first time, was listening. By September 2025, Earth's great eyes, Hubble, Webb, Gemini, began to turn blind. The sun's glare swallowed 3I/Atlas, cutting off our final view. But where Earth failed, Mars rose to take the torch. High above the red world, two aging sentinels, MRO and Maven, still orbited in silence, their cameras built for dust storms and thin air, not cosmic visitors. Yet, in a moment of urgency, the universe forced humanity to improvise. A classified memo struck NASA's inboxes like lightning. Prepare immediate red-esque. Target of opportunity, 3I/Atlas. It was a gamble on the impossible. In less than 48 hours, engineers rewrote decades-old code, rerouted instruments, and repointed the gaze of Mars itself toward the passing green ghost. Every nation with a stake in the red planet weighed in. Debates raged, priorities clashed, politicians demanded answers. But for once, science won. October 3rd, 2025, the moment of closest approach. As the Emerald Traveler swept 29 million kilometers past Mars, both orbiters turned night into revelation. Ultraviolet flashes, metal vapor trails, and infrared ripples poured into the data streams. In 3 hours, Maven returned more interstellar chemistry than any mission in a decade. Nickel signatures danced across its sensors. The cold breath of carbon dioxide stretched for thousands of kilometers. Mars, for a heartbeat in time, became humanity's only eyes on the infinite. Scientists wept. After centuries of staring outward, another world had become our observatory. When the final transmission faded, and Atlas drifted back into the abyss, one truth stood eternal. We had seen a fragment of another system, through the eyes of another planet. Mars, the red witness, had watched the stars watch us back. When the dust settled, and Atlas faded into the black, humanity faced a haunting revelation. We had almost missed it entirely. Buried deep within the archives of TESS and the Rubin Observatory, engineers uncovered faint traces from October 2023 and June 2024. Ghostly green streaks, fast-moving and fragile, dismissed by algorithms as noise. The signals had been there all along, but the machines had looked away. The truth hit like thunder. Our eyes were open, but our minds were asleep. For years, we had trained our AI to ignore the impossible, to filter out anomalies, to seek comfort in patterns. And in doing so, we blinded ourselves to the very miracles we were meant to find. The data that could have warned us of Atlas's arrival had been discarded as an error. The postmortem was brutal. Code was rewritten. Machine learning teams tore down their old logic. The new command was absolute. No anomaly ignored. No outlier unseen. If the universe speaks again, we will listen, even to whispers. From that reckoning rose a revolution. Engineers began designing rapid response interceptors, solar sails that could launch within weeks, racing at light's edge to meet the next interstellar messenger. Fleets of modular probes, nanosat swarms, and disposable scouts filled digital whiteboards across NASA, ESA, and beyond. The new vision was bold. When the next traveler arrives, humanity won't just watch, we'll reach out. 3I/Atlas had exposed our limits, and in doing so, awakened our courage. It became more than a comet. It was a cosmic teacher, a reminder that silence is not absence, and that readiness must live at the edge of wonder. Because next time, the stars might not wait. By October's end, 3I/Atlas was gone, a fading ember swallowed by the infinite. Yet its memory burned brighter than ever. Across continents, laboratories, and lecture halls, a single realization echoed. We had witnessed something no generation before us ever had. A living fragment from another star, whispering truths older than Earth itself. The speed, 98 kilometers per second. This path, unbound, eternal. Its glow, a green no science could name. Each number, each spectrum, each flicker of light became a thread in humanity's new cosmic tapestry. And though telescopes now stared at the empty sky, the silence was deafening with meaning. For centuries, we believed comets were messengers of doom. But Atlas brought no fear. It brought reflection. It showed us how small, how brief, yet how capable we are. It reminded every scientist, every dreamer, that the universe is not a distant stage, but a living dialogue, one that answers only those who dare to ask. Software engineers rebuilt their code. Astronomers rewrote their textbooks. Governments pledged new missions. For once, the world wasn't racing for dominance. It was racing for understanding. 3I/Atlas forced us to evolve. It demanded we see the sky not as decoration, but as evidence. Proof that creation stretches far beyond our reach, yet calls to us all the same. Though its emerald glow has faded, its echo endures. In the instruments that listen harder, in the minds that dream bolder, and in the hearts that still look up at night, waiting for the next stranger from the stars. Because 3I/Atlas did more than pass by. It left a question carved into the soul of humanity. When the cosmos speaks again, will we be ready to answer? When the last trace of 3I/Atlas vanished into the cosmic dark, it didn't leave emptiness behind. It left a mirror, one that reflected not the stars above, but the awakening below. For in chasing a single streak of green across the heavens, humanity discovered something greater than science. It rediscovered itself. Every nation, every discipline, every sleepless soul that gazed upward had felt the same pull, that fragile, humbling reminder that we are not the center, but the seekers. The night the sky went green wasn't just an astronomical event. It was a spiritual reorientation, a turning of the human heart toward infinity. In mission rooms once filled with noise, silence turned sacred. Scientists spoke in reverent tones, as though decoding scripture. Philosophers quoted spectra. Coders wrote algorithms with trembling hands. For the first time, data had emotion and discovery had faith. 3I/Atlas, the third interstellar wanderer, became our cosmic covenant. Proof that creation is larger than our equations, and that mystery still breathes between the numbers. It reminded us that truth is not comfort. Truth is a summons. A call to reach, to listen, to evolve. And so, new missions were born. Faster, smarter, fearless. Eyes that could turn toward the next whisper from the void. Humanity would no longer wait for miracles, it would prepare for them. In the end, Atlas wasn't just a comet. It was a teacher, a messenger, a prophecy, written not in words, but in light. As the green faded from the sky, a vow rose in its place. Next time, we will be ready, because now we know every flash across the night might be more than motion. It might be a voice from another world, calling us home.